Jin finally can't help it anymore, but why is June the only one he's waiting for? What is being hidden from the military? Is this a sign that he is tired? Or is it something much more painful? When her words are full of longing, her tears can no longer be hidden. What was really going on behind the word June that he said with that trembling voice? Jin can't help it anymore. What happened in June? June is coming, and I can't wait. That sentence sounded simple, almost like an ordinary confession from a man who is counting down the days to something happy. But when the words came out of Jin's mouth, with a wistful look in his eyes, a pause in his breathing, and a slight trembling in his voice, all the meaning behind those words seemed to hit the hearts of the army like an unexpected storm. Is it about a comeback? Is it about returning to the world he left behind? Or is it about another unbearable wound? The question is not only about what will happen in June, but also, why does Jin seem to be on the border between hope and despair? June. For some, it's just part of the time. But for Jin, the month of June seems to have been the only place he put all the remaining hope that he could still hold on to. At that time, in a moment that was not officially recorded, but was caught by the eyes of his fans, Jin was seen daydreaming for a moment before he said, "I can't wait anymore. June, please come sooner." There is no special smile, Jin. There are no typical jokes characteristic of him. There was only silence, then a quiet, barely audible whisper. "I miss them too much." Is Jin on the verge of mental exhaustion? Did military life give him more weight than he ever admitted? And why does he seem so much more vulnerable now than when he first entered the military? Shouldn't he be getting used to it? But why does that phrase, "I can no longer bear it," sound like a scream in silence? The army began to speculate. Did Jin experience something that made him feel like time wasn't on his side? Is there something going on between the members that makes the longing feel like a gaping wound? Or did he know something was going to happen in June, something the public didn't already know? An event? A surprise? Or just a loss? "There's a note of desperation behind his voice," said one fan who claimed to have followed Jin's every trail since the first day he debuted. "It's not an ordinary longing. It's like someone who wants to run back, but his legs are bound by obligations he can't fight." The question resonated among thousands of hearts. What really happened to the Jin? There is one moment that is difficult to forget. When Jin briefly appeared in a video to greet fans, he only said one sentence, "I hope you're still there when I get back." That seemingly simple sentence left hundreds of thousands of fans speechless. There's something hanging in the air. Is that a doubt? Or just fear? Why does a star as bright as Jin, who is loved, respected, and missed by millions, still harbor fears that he will be forgotten? Did he witness something behind the scenes that the army didn't know about? Does fame slowly make him feel more and more alienated? Or is Jin putting together something too big to reveal right now? June. Many soldiers were aware that the month coincided with the end of Jin conscription. But the question is, if he is going to come back, why didn't he tell us the news in the usual way? Why exactly did he choose a tone of sadness, longing, and despair? Do you miss the members? Or is it just fear of what awaits him after his return? At the mention of the members, Jin could never hide his emotions. "I think about them every night. Jimin, Jungkook, Taehyung, everyone. It feels lonely without them." But at the mention of one name, Taehyung, his eyes look a little glassy. They are different. Something unusual. What really happened between Jin and Taehyung? Does that longing also harbor guilt? Or even a wound? There is a note from a close source that says that Jin often repeats old songs that are only played when he feels very sad. The same song he listened to when he lost his dog, or when BTS had to part ways for a while. Is he now struggling with a sense of loss that he has never shown before? Does he feel that he has changed after entering the military, and is afraid that he can no longer be the same young as before? No one knows for sure, but the signs are too obvious to ignore. Even in the last note he wrote, which was leaked from a staffer, Jin said, "I hope I can still laugh like I used to when I come back." Does that mean that a part of you is missing? Then, where exactly were the members when Jin showed these fatigue signals? Do they know? Do they realize that Jin is in need of a hug? Or are they struggling in the same way? A message from Jimin in a live broadcast a few weeks ago mentioned Jin's name in a very gentle way, as if he were speaking to someone who was being hurt. "Hyung, we are waiting for you. We know you're strong, but when you're tired, you know we're there." The month of June is coming soon. But the question is no longer just about time. The question is, will Jin return as his old self? Or have there been too many injuries left untreated? And if it comes back, will BTS stay the same? Or this is the most painful question. Will June be a month of surprises, which, on the contrary, tear everyone's hopes to shreds? Because if Jin really can't take it anymore, what will happen? What is he hiding? And why does all this feel like a delayed breakup? Then, on a very quiet night, when the sounds of the world seemed far away and there was only the sound of a thin wind sweeping the cold walls of the barracks, Jin wrote something on a piece of paper. The paper was never intended to be published, yet somehow, someone read it and burst into tears. It says, "I know you're waiting, but can you just keep waiting if I can't be who I used to be?" What does that mean? Is Jin talking about inevitable change? Or about an unconscious loss of identity? Or more deeply, is he doubting the love he has believed so strongly in from the army? One by one clues appear, like puzzle pieces that are not yet complete. When one of Jin's old video recordings suddenly went viral again, many noticed that his expression in the video was much heavier than usual. There were moments where he spoke excitedly, but after the camera went off, he looked down and wiped his face like someone was trying to erase something that no one wanted to see. "Why do you think I'm always okay?" It was another line captured from off-cam footage that was never officially released. A sentence that seems to be addressed not only to the army, but also to the world, to the industry that continues to force them to smile even though their hearts are broken. What happened during his military service? Did he receive bad news? Is there something going on with his family or even with the members? Why does he keep mentioning them in longing phrases that are almost like prayers? And why does the word June sound like the last hope? Even more astonishing was when a military staffer accidentally mentioned that Jin often looked blankly out the window at nightfall. He was always facing the sky, as if looking for something or someone. When asked further, the staffer declined to go into detail, saying only, "He's a nice guy." But obviously, he was carrying something heavy. And that weight is now piling up into a bigger question. Is he ready to return to a stage that has changed in his absence? Does Jin feel left out? Or more painfully, does he feel betrayed by time that gives him no breathing space? June is approaching, but the world seems to be moving further and further away for Jin. AS fans celebrated the news that he would soon be free from military service. Jin sent a cryptic message, "I'm not sure what's waiting for me, but I want to believe that there is still a place for me there." Why did he say that? How could a man so loved question his own place? And here's the highlight. In a secret broadcast with military staff that was leaked to a certain fan base, Jin once said, "If I could go back and hug them one by one, I would. But I'm afraid I'm no longer the one who can make them smile." The word fear in Jin's statement leaves a deep wound. What fears overshadowed him? Is it about his feelings for the members? Are you afraid that your relationship is not the same? Or more horrifically, did he find out that something had broken between them during his absence? Some armies began to associate this signal with a change in the attitude of some members. Jungkook, who looks more emotional than usual, Jimin, who avoids the topic of Jin, and Taehyung, who now rarely mentions his Hyung name. Did something happen that we don't know about? Will June be a month of welcome or a month of painful recognition? And if there really is a showdown or an untold rift, can BTS go back to the way they used to be? Time was running out, and the closer we got to that important June date, the more tense the atmosphere became. Instead of joyfully welcoming Jin, fans are now haunted by worries they can't suppress. Everyone is waiting for one moment, Jin's reappearance before the world. But one last sentence scattered through a mysterious audio voice believed to be the voice of a genie makes everything turn into a collective panic. "I'll talk." But not everyone will be ready to hear it. What does Jin mean? Is he harboring a big secret that will shake the entire army? Does he know something about BTS's future that no one has revealed yet? And could it be that he meant a farewell announcement? The sentence is too mysterious, but all at once too real to ignore. Now all that's left are questions and fears. What will happen in June? What could Jin know? Time goes on, but why does it feel like it stops for someone who is waiting for an answer from his own heart? For Jin, the month of June is not just a number on the calendar. It is the meeting point between hope and fear. It is the boundary line between the past that is remembered and the future that is not necessarily received. And when everyone counted the days eagerly, the genie counted them with anxiety. An insider revealed that Jin had made a request to speak privately with the members before his official discharge date. But not everyone answered. Is that true? Or is it just a figment of rumors evaporating in industry circles? But one thing that cannot be ignored is the fact that Jin several times expressed his desire to finish something pending. The words came from a letter that was accidentally seen by someone in the closest circle. And the letter, according to the confession of the source, was handwritten. It contains sentences that tear to shreds the emotions of whoever reads it. I don't know if you will welcome me like before, but I want to go home. Even if only for one hug. The word home here refers not just to home, not just to going back to the HYB building, or going on stage with the 7 microphones that used to be together. The word go home sounds like a plea, or even a confession, that the genie feels lost, that she wants to return to a place where she can feel whole. But is that place still there? June is approaching. But it was not the cheers that sounded in Jin's head. It's quiet. And in that silence, there was a scream that he had held for too long. Why does he look like he wants to talk, but holding back? Why is it that in every piece of audio or written message, Jin always slips the word sorry, as if he is preparing to endure something that will disappoint? What exactly happened? Then, in another letter, this time captured on camera for just a few seconds on the screen of a military staffer's phone, Jin's writing appears to imply something surprising. He said, "If they don't come that day, I understand." Got it. Is Jin preparing for the most painful possibility that the members of BTS might not be present when he returns? The sentence sparked an explosion of emotion among the army. Because if it's true that Jin prepares for such a big disappointment, then there's something much darker going on behind the scenes. Something that was never shown on camera. Something that is never even mentioned in the sweet contents of the theme of togetherness. Did their bond broken? Or is it that the Jin are only doubting something that is actually still strong? But when a recent video showed Jungkook crying while singing the bridge portion of the song for Youth, the theory of a rift grew. Many have speculated that the tears were not simply because of the song's lyrics, but because of guilt, because something had not been fixed between her and Jin. Some fans are even convinced that one of the low sentences heard on the microphone when Jungkook lowered his head was, "Hyung, I'm sorry." What has happened between them? Why is Jungkook crying? And why is it that the genie seems to have forgiven, but not forgotten? Then Jimin, who is known to be the most expressive of emotions, chose silence. Never mentioned Jin's name in the last interview. It never signals that he is looking forward to June. Is it because of the pain? Or because of guilt? Or even more complicated, because of a conflict that never ends? On the other hand, Taehyung, who used to mention Jin's name so often as a protective figure, is now more solitary. When asked about the reunion, he simply replied, "Everything will be fine, if nothing changes." But what if something has changed? What if time had made them strangers to each other? What if the genie came back not for a reunion, but to say goodbye? One of the most devastating parts of all this was Jin's unpublished, but purported, voice recording from his private consulting sessions with military advisors. In the recording, Jin is heard saying in a trembling voice, "If I go out and none of them come, I will know the answer." What does Jin mean by answer? Is he speaking the truth he has always denied, or about the pain she's been through? And the most heartbreaking, does he doubt the love they once vowed as eternal? June is a few weeks away. But time is not enough to answer all these questions, and even more stifling, the army can only wait. waiting for something that isn't happy. Waiting for someone who may come back not with a smile, but with a wound that can no longer be hidden. Because now, Jin can't hold it anymore. He wants to talk, but is the world ready to hear it? Are we all ready to accept that maybe BTS is no longer the same?